French philosopher Voltaire once said, "I may disapprove of what you say, but I will defend to death your right to say it." And what Voltaire understood is that the purpose of freedom of speech is to protect the minority, often unpopular viewpoint from the tyranny of the majority or even of the government. The First Amendment of our Constitution, the most important document in American history, guarantees each and every one of us in this room the right to free speech. That means freedom of the press, freedom of religion, covers symbolic speech, your right to protest, and your right to express contempt against our government. This also means speech that we may disapprove of or even find offensive. In 1989, in the landmark case Texas versus Johnson, the Supreme Court ruled that burning of the American flag was symbolic speech and therefore protected under the First Amendment. Now, let's fast forward to a couple years ago in 2016 when our current president got elected. Many people took the streets and burned the flag in protest. Now, this is not something that I would do. You guys know how much this country means to me. But these people were well within their constitutional right to do so. And I would never advocate against their right to do that. Another landmark case took place in 2010, which was Snyder versus Phelps. And this one had to do with the Westboro Baptist Church, and they were picketing in front of the graves of dead soldiers with signs that read, "Thank God for dead troops," among other things. And the Supreme Court ruled that despite their hateful action, despite their hateful language, their actions was protected by the First Amendment, their right to protest and their right to freedom of religion. Now, I must clarify that I don't agree with the sentiments of flag burners or those that chant gay slurs at dead soldiers' grave sites. But I do respect their right to do so. Because our First Amendment says that the right of the people, the right of the people for free speech shall not be infringed upon. And I really want to emphasize that this means speech that we disapprove of and might even find hateful. In the book Fahrenheit 451, Ray Bradbury writes about a government that burns books to stop the spread of wrong ideas. And then he says that modern book burning will not take place, will not come by fire, but by censorship. In recent weeks, several members of the media have been banned from certain social media sites because they violated their hate speech policies, which in my opinion are pretty vague and even arbitrarily enforced. Now, I understand that these are private corporations and they can do whatever they want. They can make the policies that they want. But by banning certain viewpoints, they are telling you, they are telling me that they don't care about your free speech. That the moment you say something that they disagree with, that they will censor you, that they will ban you from using their site as well. Now, I'm not saying any names or any sites because I don't want to politicize this speech. If you want to know, you could ask me afterwards. But anyway, our free speech is also being threatened in universities all over the country. For example, in the University of Wisconsin, students are encouraged to report what they call microaggressions. Now, this is another vaguely defined term. A microaggression could be a slur regarding your race, religion, or your gender, or it could be a comment that you simply took the wrong way. In the University of Wisconsin, you could report me for saying, "Hey, Netta, you speak English very well. Where did you learn to speak it?" Or, "Hey, Elaine, really good. Did you lose some weight? As you can see, by banning certain language that someone might deem offensive, that could lead to some serious repercussions regarding free speech. Censorship, as a form of protecting the sensitive or potentially offended, directly threatens our freedom of speech. The moment you refuse the right to free speech to someone because their language was offensive is the moment you could start deeming more speech offensive and start taking that right away from all of us. Now, I want to end this speech by a poem written by a German pastor during the Holocaust. His name was Martin Niemöller, and it starts like this. First, they came for the socialists, and I did not speak out because I was not a socialist. Then, they came for the trade unionists, and I did not speak out because I was not a trade unionist. Then they came for the Jews, and I did not speak out because I was not a Jew. Then they came for me, and there was no one left to speak for me.